Hi friends, Stefanie here of Green Sage. It's wonderful to see you again, coming to you live from Las Vegas, and I would love to know where you're watching from. So please drop a comment below, tell me where you're watching from, and if you're catching this video live or in the replay, we'd love to hear that too. You might remember me from past videos. I am a whole food plant-based chef and cooking instructor, and I share my whole food plant-based recipes on social media at Green Sage Life. I've got a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, and I would love to connect with you there. And today, for today's video, the great folks at Amla Green have invited me to share with you some exciting ways to use Amla Green. Some of them might surprise you. I'm actually going to show you how I make my favorite breakfast, and then I'm going to add some Amla Green to it. And then I will just talk about some other ways in which we could use Amla Green on a daily basis, because it's so good for you. And it's great to know different ways to get it into the diet on a regular basis. So if you already have Amla Green, maybe you took advantage of their holiday deals, which by the way are still going on. So check them out at amlagreen.com. Lots of really amazing discounts on the Amla Green products. So you want to take advantage of the really hot deals that are going on. It seems like they've extended them from Black Friday, which is great. It's not too late to take advantage of these, and you might want to know how to work these into your daily life. So I'm going to give you some ideas today. So let's talk about my favorite breakfast. This is it's like a whole oatmeal dish with fresh fruit and nuts. And I'm going to actually tell you 3 ways in which I could incorporate Amla Green into this dish. I'm going to do 2 of them myself, but I'm going to give you a 3rd option. And I guess I'll just get started here right now. So on the weekends, I batch cook oat groats. It's the most wholesome version of oatmeal that you can make for, and I've warmed them up here. So I batch cook them on the weekend, and then I reheat them in a bowl in the microwave every morning. And I'm going to add to them some cinnamon. And actually, before I even get started on the meal itself, let me just knock out the very first way that is maybe the most obvious way to enjoy Amla Green, and that's simply by drinking it as a tea. And I've got my favorite mug here, and I have heated up some water in my tea kettle, and I'm gonna add the original flavor, Amla Green. This is the 90 serving jar. So check that out. You get a little bit of a better value when you buy it this way in the 90-day jar. I'm gonna add it to my mug, and then I'm gonna pour the water into it. And because I've added it first, I don't even have to stir. It just kind of dissolves immediately. And I have to tell you guys, I am a tea snob. Like, I choose the temperature of my water. I brew loose leaf tea regularly. And Amla Green is my tea of choice for every single breakfast. It not only tastes delicious, it tastes like regular tea, but I know that it's packed with antioxidants and it's doing my body a world of good. So I feel like it is an absolute must, non-negotiable for my breakfast. So that's the first way. I'm going to take a sip now because I can't resist, but the water's hot. Okay, so that's way 1, method 1 for enjoying Amla Green. So good. Back to my oatmeal. Okay, so I've got my warmed oat groats here in a bowl. Sometimes I mix in some quinoa or some buckwheat or even some lentils to vary it a little bit, vary the nutrition, and just change it up from day to day. And I'm gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. I get my cinnamon in bulk too, and then I store it in these storage jars, the little ball jars. And it smells delicious. It's amazing. So I'm sprinkling on the cinnamon, but I'm also going to sprinkle on the Amla Green pumpkin spice. So this is method 2, that you can add it to your dish simply by sprinkling it onto your food. And I'm going to do that now because the pumpkin spice flavor profile really complements the flavor profile of this dish. There's cinnamon. You could add pumpkin pie spice, or even better, Amla Green pumpkin spice, because it's got all of these extra antioxidants from the amla, the Indian gooseberries. So I have sprinkled that on so you can see the cinnamon and the Amla Green pumpkin spice are in the bowl. I'm going to drizzle it with just a little bit of pure maple syrup. Check your ingredients when you buy your maple syrup. Make sure that it has only one ingredient, maple syrup, not cornstarch or any kind of colorings. It's a little pricier when you buy it that way, but it's important for your health. Just the tiniest drizzle. You can see what that looks like. And I'm just going to stir this into the oats right away. Quick and easy here. Maybe you can see. And amla is, in case you didn't know, amla is another word for Indian gooseberries. It is the food, the whole food that has the highest concentration of antioxidants in the world. And one of the wonderful things is when you blend that with green tea powder, or in some cases there's a lot of varieties of flavors here from Amla Green, hibiscus and elderberry. It balances out the naturally sour flavor of the amla, and it tastes absolutely delicious. So it's a really nice combination of flavors, but the antioxidants is really where it's at in terms of your health. No matter what your health status is, you can benefit always from more antioxidants in your diet. So I'm going to use an apple and a pear, half of each. And usually I make this for my husband and myself, so I am putting half of each fruit into each bowl. So we each have half a pear and half an apple. And I have chopped it in advance here just for the purposes of this demonstration. So you can see pear and apple chopped in little bite-sized pieces. I always leave the skin on because the skin too contains a lot of nutrients, including fiber and more antioxidants. And I'm just going to use my knife to brush the fruit into the bowl on top of the oats. So again, fruits and veggies have tons of antioxidants. So if you're looking to maximize your antioxidant intake, this is another great way to do it. So here's what we've got so far now: oat groats and a bunch of chopped fruit on here. And then finally, I will add just some chopped nuts. I've chopped up some walnuts and some pecans and a Brazil nut. I try to eat a Brazil nut every day for the all-important selenium nutrient that comes in Brazil nuts. And then here it is, my favorite breakfast, complete with a mug of Amla green tea, antioxidant packed. And the third option that I could have done if I wanted to, it wasn't necessary, is I could have taken my maple syrup in a little bowl, poured it in, and then added the Amla Green pumpkin spice to the maple syrup, and then just whisked it like that to pour it on. And it wasn't necessary this time because, like I showed you, I sprinkled it directly on the food. But let's say you were eating a breakfast that didn't really lend itself to sprinkling the Amla Green pumpkin spice directly on top, something like pancakes or French toast or waffles or something like that that you would put syrup on. You could still get all the benefits of the Amla Green pumpkin spice in your maple syrup by whisking it in and then drizzling it on top. So you would have this really delicious spiced maple syrup to go on top of your delicious breakfast, whatever that may be. So I have reviewed 3 ways that I can incorporate it just in this simple, wholesome, delicious breakfast. But there are even more ways. We've often done videos together where we've used it in a smoothie recipe. So you could find your favorite smoothie recipe online or check out the Amla Green Instagram feed. There's a lot of yummy recipes there, their Facebook page. And just add a serving of Amla Green or a scoop of Amla Green to your smoothie before you blend it per person you're feeding. So let's say you're doing a smoothie for you and your partner. So you've got enough smoothie in the blender to make 2 servings of smoothie. Then you would put 2 scoops of your Amla Green. And you have options here. There's the original flavor that tastes mostly like black tea. And then you've got the hibiscus and the elderberry variety, and those also have their own beautiful properties that you can add. So it's nice to have the full variety of Amla Green because you can get the benefits of hibiscus one day, and then the immune boosting benefits of elderberry another day, and just switch it up that way, but you're still getting all the antioxidants. And what antioxidants do for your body, if you're not familiar, is there's actually a whole host of them, but they reduce inflammation, which is really important to prevent chronic disease. They prevent cell damage. So that can maybe mean killing off cells that were that mutated and that could eventually lead to some cancer or other chronic diseases. But it can also mean repairing your skin and reducing the signs of aging, which is another wonderful benefit of antioxidants. And it boosts your immune system and just generally reduces your risk of chronic illness in general. So no matter your health status, antioxidants are really important to get into your daily eating regimen on a regular basis. But the amla in particular also has some really important benefits. It's really good for blood glucose control. It really helps with heart health and reducing cholesterol and blood pressure, and it's really good for metabolic health. So there's a lot of benefits here, and it's a really great idea to work it into your daily diet on a regular basis. So I hope I have been able to give you some inspiration. There are so many more uses. You can, in addition to smoothies, you can make some beautiful mocktails. We've done a few videos on that recently. So scroll the Amla Green Facebook page and find some of our past live videos and get some inspiration there. You can, if you find a recipe online for a salad dressing, you could add your Amla Green to the blender, whisk it into your salad dressings and pour it on top of your salads, or into some of the sauces you make if you do your own homemade sauces. And even if you buy a sauce, you can still whisk it into the sauce. When you do a scoop of amla into a salad dressing or a sauce for your meal, it doesn't impact the flavor very much, but it magnifies, it multiplies the health benefits. So it's always a really great way to use the Amla Green. If you have a favorite way to use Amla Green, please let us know in the comments. And also tell us what your favorite variety, what your favorite flavor of Amla Green is too. I would love to hear. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and if I can't answer them live, I'll come back in later and answer them in the replay in the comments. Janet says, thanks for this. I keep trying to use the hibiscus version for tea and it doesn't dissolve well in hot water. Most of it is at the bottom of the mug when I finish my tea. I will try mixing it in my daily oat groats, which is also my favorite breakfast. Oh, good. I'm so glad we feel the same way about the oat groats, Janet. Thank you for this comment. Yes, I find that the original tea dissolves very easily into water. And if you wanted to do the hibiscus, it's true that you might have to stir it every once in a while as you're drinking. It's not as convenient per se, I guess I would admit, but the hibiscus is so good for you that it makes sense to take that extra effort. Or you can use your amla hibiscus in smoothies and sauces and on top of your food, and do the original if you really just want to drink it straight up. That would be my opinion on that. Tom writes, how many scoops can I use every day? Well, that's a good question. I would recommend at least 1 scoop a day, probably 2 if you want to maximize your benefit. I might cut it off there though. I'm thinking 2 scoops a day would be awesome. But yeah, I think that's probably, you want to do 1 or 2 scoops a day. Thanks for your question, Tom. If we have no other questions, Chris says, swirl it as it approaches the bottom. That way it is in suspension already, so you can toss it back when the water is cooler. I got that from Cyrus in the live video. Totally works. My matcha green tea, not amla, has the same problem. Yes, thanks for clarifying that, Chris. That's what I was saying when I was talking about stirring it every once in a while as you're drinking it. Because some substances are not water solvents, so they don't just dissolve. I never have the problem with like I said, with the original tea. I never have to re-stir that. It just kind of seems to dissolve very well. But some of the other blends with other substances, other foods in there, hibiscus, elderberry, they may just, they don't really dissolve. You need to suspend them. So that's why. Thank you for that a helpful tip, Chris. I appreciate it. And so I think those are if I have no other questions right away, I hope you'll be inspired to make a delicious antioxidant-rich plant-based breakfast with Amla Green. And please don't forget to take advantage of the holiday deals while you can. They're still available and there's tons of discounts packed in. There's Amla Green tea, there's Amla coffee. So check out the variety of flavors, and also some of these packages come with PDFs that are helpful resources to give you even more inspiration. Chris says, is it okay to bake with the tea powders? Would that affect the effectiveness of it? Oh, excellent grammar. Awesome question, Chris. Yes, I do bake Amla Green into some of my snacks. Excuse me. I'm going to take a sip of my Amla Green tea. Yes, I put them into muffins. I do energy bites with the Amla Green, and I do not believe that it detracts from the effectiveness of the antioxidants. So that's another great way. The only thing you might have to keep in mind is that if you're baking a whole batch of muffins, you might want to put enough Amla Green so that each muffin has a full serving of Amla Green. So that might be 12 scoops if you're doing a batch of muffins. If you're not so concerned about getting it in, you could do a little less, but that's something you want to keep in mind too. I think those are all of the questions we have. So thank you guys so much for your participation, your excellent questions and comments. It's been wonderful to share this with you today. I hope you're inspired. And I'm going to see you again in a couple of weeks for another yummy baking recipe. So stay tuned for more. Thanks for being here, friends. Have a wonderful weekend.